Joining us now, John Findlay. John is the executive director, big title, of the Republican Party of Virginia, or as Pat Mullins would say, the Republican Party of Virginia. Joining us now, John Findlay. John, good to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me, John. Appreciate it.
All right. So, John, I saw the article in the Washington Post. So let me just set this up for our audience very quickly, and then I'll let you explain further. So Mark Herring, Attorney General, Democrat, running for re-election, has a town hall meeting at a mosque in Northern Virginia. Now, this is not just any mosque, John. There's a lot of mosques out there. This is not any mosque. This is a so-called terror link mosque in Northern Virginia, because this is where one of the guys on the 9/11 attacks worship.
I mean, it's honestly so much worse than that. I mean, it's the Dar al-Hijra in Falls Church was the mosque that he visited for a town hall, in quotation marks. The purpose of the town hall was to oppose the president's travel policies that are designed to keep America safe. I mean, so already it's a scandal in my mind, because he's using Virginia taxpayer funds to oppose a common sense security policy that's going to prevent terror attacks. And he does it at a location where not just one, but two of the 9/11 hijackers worshipped. Nidal Hassan, who's the Fort Hood shooter, who he killed 18 Americans, wounded over 30 in his attacks. And the head imam at the mosque previously was a guy by the name of Anwar al-Awlaki. And I know that John Fredericks listeners are the smartest listeners in the country. But do they know about Anwar al-Awlaki, John?
No, go ahead.
So Anwar al-Awlaki, he was the head imam for 2 years. From 2001 to 2003, he then became the public face of Al-Qaeda worldwide. He was in Yemen. He did multiple YouTube videos, urging Muslims to go and participate in suicide attacks against the United States. He actually was the person who recruited Nidal Hassan, the Fort Hood shooter, and it got so bad he was killed by a drone strike in 2011 by President Obama. But yeah, he was Al-Qaeda's most public face. He's still all over YouTube with advocating for death to Americans overseas. So he was their public face, and that's where Mark Herring could have gone anywhere in Virginia, but he chose this mosque, which has been linked to so many terrorists, to go and host it. I mean, it was insane. I mean, he's so far out there. It's crazy.
We're with John Findlay. He's the executive director of the Republican Party of Virginia. So this imam, when was he there at this mosque? When was he the head guy at this mosque?
Oh, he was there from 2001 to 2003. But then, beyond that, there's around 12 other individuals from that mosque that have been arrested in terror organizations or in terror plots, or have been found to be overseas terrorists. And everyone's like, oh, well, that might be a long time ago. What's more recent? Well, when the Obama administration killed Anwar al-Awlaki, the head of the mosque said, and this is a quote directly from them, that those who killed Anwar al-Awlaki need to prepare for the day that they will be judged by Allah. So they weren't exactly repentant. They weren't exactly this guy's a bad guy. They were out there saying that, oh, well, you killed one of our own. You better be prepared to be judged by Allah. I mean, it's really just. They also had previously, justified Palestinian suicide bombings in Israel. It's really a controversial mosque, and that's why the Washington Post, headline was so brutal against Herring. Not exactly surprising though, given what Herring's done in Virginia. I mean, just really, really awful stuff.
Was it a mistaken judgment, or why would Mark Herring go here? His spokesman, Michael Kelly, said, "As Attorney General, I'm here to defend and protect the rights and civil liberties of all Virginians, including minorities, communities, no matter what you look like, what your background is." I'm sorry, that was Mark Herring, according to Michael Kelly in the article. And Kelly went on to say, while General Herring is actively working to reassure Virginia Muslims and other minority communities that they are safe and welcome, the Republican Party of Virginia is sending dangerous messages that only embolden those who want to harm or harass religious minorities.
Yeah.
How the hell does that make any sense?
He says it's dangerous. You know how many people have died due to our messages? Big goose egg, zero. You know how many people died on September 11th from the two attackers that worship at that mosque? Nearly 3,000. How many people did Nidal Hassan kill? Fatally shot over 13 people and wounded over 30. So I find it really ironic that they're saying that we're the ones who are dangerous when the people who had attended this mosque are the ones who are out there killing people. But I think that they didn't do their homework. And to show they didn't do their homework, Jim Webb was invited when he was U.S. Senator to speak at the mosque in 2011, and he didn't just decline the invite; he had the invite rescinded because of the mosque ties to terrorism. I mean, that's in a Washington Examiner story that we'll be forwarding around today. And then the other thing here that I think why Mark Herring did it is you just follow the money. I mean, Mark Herring is sold out to liberal special interest groups across the country. I mean, he trampled on Virginians' gun rights, and that was done at the bidding of Michael Bloomberg. He's gone out there. I mean, they probably hold a celebration every time Virginia loses a coal job because of how sold out he's been to Tom Steyer and the climate change wackos. And so, this is just another liberal issue that he can go and raise money off of for his reelection bid. I mean, it's nothing more than that. He is sold out to liberal special interests, not the citizens of Virginia. That's the bottom line.
Well, I think you're right on that. There's no question. I mean, the entire party is moving more and more to the left-wing extremism. There's no question. Maybe that's going to work. I have no idea. Look, if you've won 8 races in a row statewide in Virginia, you probably figure you can do anything. You're still going to win. You get pretty confident when you got an 8-game winning streak, and that's what they're on right now. So I'm not going to handicap what they're doing because they keep winning. But I got to tell you this, just to the average person, I mean, you go back to Jim Webb, who a lot of people respect because he's a sober thinker. And you got to ask yourself, okay, Mark Herring, you're getting a lot of money from these different left-wing liberal progressive organizations. That's fine. You got plenty of mosques to go. Why would you go to this one? When you say they didn't do their homework, I would think the opposite. I think they did their homework and picked this one. Why would they do that?
I mean, I'm with you. I think it's crazy. I really don't. I just think that I do think it's sloppy on their part. I don't think they did it intentionally because, I mean, again, we have candidates visit mosques all the time in Northern Virginia. It's just that 99% of mosques are not linked to active terror investigations like this mosque has been. 99% of mosques don't have a preacher come up on their day of worship and justify Palestinian suicide bombings or say that U.S. forces who kill terrorists need to prepare for judgment before Allah. And for Mark Herring to go there is just, I mean, I do think it's a mistake. I don't think that they're that devious. I don't think that this headline, or there's a headline in the Richmond Times-Dispatch that says that, Mark Herring blasted for visit to controversial or mosque with controversial ties. Those aren't good headlines for Mark Herring. I mean, I think that that his staff just, had a level of incompetence there. But again, based on his previous actions with the gun ban that he tried to institute, that was, ultimately overturned. I mean, I think that it's not shocking that his staff are not the world's greatest. So.
Now, John, what's interesting is, everybody wants to be inclusive, right? Nobody wants to discriminate. But this particular mosque, I mean, the terror links here and what was said, I mean, you can't dispute any of this. Now, your own Republican Party chairman, John Whitback, he's been part of events at different mosques in Northern Virginia, but not this one, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. And, and Barbara Comstock, Chairman Whitbeck. I know at least two of the statewide candidates for governor on our side have visited the Adams Center, which is a great mosque, and Sterling. There's there's mosques out near Manassas where, again, the worshipers there are peaceful. There are no ties to active terror investigations. They don't, encourage people to go and join ISIS or participate in suicide bombings. And it just so happens that, this mosque does, and that's why pretty much everybody stays away. I do think that Tom Davis did visit this mosque after he was retired. But that's the most recent Republican that we've found who's visited the mosque. Everybody else is usually and even some Democrats, as I mentioned, Jim Webb in 2011, have stayed away from the mosque because of its ties and because of the content coming out from the pulpit there. So,
all right, look, we're with John Findlay, Executive Director, Republican Party of Virginia. So, John, in the article yesterday in the Washington Post, their spokesperson for this mosque, their Deputy Director of Governmental Affairs, Colin Christopher, said, and let me read you his quote, the extremists within the Republican Party in Virginia, the extremists within the Republican Party of Virginia seem to have taken over and more moderate minds have receded in the current political climate. What the hell is he talking about?
I think he's projecting at that point. He's, which is a psychological term, because when it comes to extremists, his mosque is pretty much filled with extremists. So, he's calling us extremists when, listen, we haven't been investigated by the FBI. No RPV, no one who's gone to RPV has gone on to kill a bunch of people or blow people up. That's all on him. Mm-hmm. So I think he's really projecting at that point, so.
All right, we're with John Findlay, Executive Director, Republican Party of Virginia, talking about a Washington Post article yesterday, Mark Herring going to a very controversial mosque and doing a town hall meeting there, not just visiting it, doing a town hall meeting. And he did that in response to opposing President Trump's travel ban from these 6 Middle Eastern countries. Also, I want our listeners to know the FBI has spoken several times with the congregation. Obviously, including, according to the Post recently, obviously the FBI's got other things to do. If they're speaking to members of the congregation, probably not a good sign, right? Yeah, I doubt they were going in there to ask them for coffee and donuts.
Concerning. They're out there bragging about how much the FBI is visiting them. Before the September 11th attacks, if I was like, oh, where's the FBI visit a lot, I would think, like the mob. Or something like that. When the FBI is constantly having to show up and explain things to you, again, that's probably not a great sign for your associations out there. So I find it very, very concerning.
All right, John, I got a minute.
So many times.
I got a minute. Last question, because you guys also criticize the CARE group, Council on American Islamic Relations, which took part in the town hall event. Do you think this is a campaign issue for the Republican nominee for Attorney General in 2017 over Mark Herring or not?
Well, Mark Herring has screwed up and wasted so much taxpayer funding. It's really hard to pick a specific issue because he's done such an abysmal job as Attorney General. But I definitely think that there is an opportunity here because, he's doing the bidding of liberal special interests and not Virginia citizens. CARE is a group that refuses to this day. If you call and ask them, hey, will you condemn Hezbollah and Hamas as terrorist organizations, they refuse to do it. They refuse to denounce those organizations because they're so closely linked to them. So I think that it definitely has a potential to be an issue, but again, Mark Herring has screwed up so many times. It's just really hard to choose.
Race to the left. We're out of time. I want to thank John Findlay for being with us, Executive Director,
Appreciate it,
Republican Party of Virginia. More information, go to rpv.com. Hey, John, thanks for being with us.